Welcome, Queen. Have you ever calmly communicated a boundary and then the response you got was, well, I guess I just can't say anything around you anymore, huh? And now, in that moment, the conversation shifts. And instead of standing firm on your boundary, you find yourself defending your boundary. Let's talk about what's really happening in that moment. You see, the issue is not the conversation itself. The issue is when your boundary is communicated, the person who is hearing it frames your boundary in such a way that they present it back to you as a problem. So it's not about you actually speaking the boundary, it's about what they hear when you say your boundary. And sometimes they may say, well, you're just being really sensitive. It's not that serious. Oh, you took what I said out of context. You're overreacting. Well, let's just not talk about it. This can go on and on. Those are just a few examples. But in those examples, what I want you to see is that there is a conversational shift. And the tactic is simple: to take the focus off of what your boundary is, to take the focus off of the boundary that you've communicated to them. And the typical response from many women, well intended women, is to over explain, retract the boundary, or to even soften the boundary so that they can please or appease the other person. They're trying to avoid feeling that uncomfortable moment or dealing with conflict from the boundary that they created or set for themselves or for that relationship that they have with the other person. And so now the conversation is no longer even about the original intention of the conversation, which was the boundary to begin with. So, what do you do when this moment happens? Because it's bound to happen when you set a boundary, especially with someone who you've never or rarely ever had to set a boundary with or even shared your boundaries with. What you do is this: you recognize when the conversation has shifted so that you can recenter it. Meaning, you don't focus on just what you say, you clarify what you said. Meaning, you don't argue, you simply reposition what you've shared because you're repositioning the conversation. And this matters because often as high achieving women, we are taught to be agreeable, to keep the peace, and at all costs avoid tension, avoid creating conflict. But leadership, ladies, leadership requires clarity, and clarity without apology. And that's why I teach the 4 conversations that every woman needs to master: releasing, revealing, restoring, and repositioning. When you need to have a releasing conversation, it means that a relationship or a partnership, if it's business, it's come to an end. And at some point, there are some relationships that actually do need to end. If you need to have a revealing conversation, there are times where you simply need the person to hear what you have to say. You're not asking them to fix anything, and you're not asking for their approval about what you have to say. When you need to have a restoring conversation, this means that a relationship or maybe a partnership, it was over. It had ended. You had gone your separate ways. But for one reason or another, you feel or you believe that it would be best to try again, to revive the relationship, to bring it back to life. And if you need to have a repositioning conversation, it means that in order for the relationship to survive and thrive, this person, whoever they may be, they're going to have to make some adjustments. Because if they don't, then the relationship most likely will come to an end because it won't be serving you and them at the highest level. So if you've ever found yourself at the end of a conversation walking away thinking, that did not go how I intended or expected it to go, and I don't understand what happened, I want you to know you're not alone. This has happened to many women just like you. And the reason being is not because you struggle with speaking, it's because, like many other women, you have not identified the relational shift happening inside of the conversation that you're having. And that is exactly what I teach in my webinar, when the conversation goes left. And the link is in the description below, and also pinned in the comment section for those ladies who know you want to learn more so you can be equipped to handle any conversation when it starts to go left. Remember, when you're having any conversation, the goal is not to control the other person or the other people that you're speaking to. The goal is to remain steady and stable and in control of yourself, even if or when the conversation starts to go to the left. As always, I'm C.E. Sam, telling you that 24 hours doesn't seem long, but in 24 hours, you can change your life. So go ahead and do something life-changing now.